What if Jennifer Hudson's most intimate thoughts about Common were never meant for the world to see? Not the polished interviews, not the rehearsed red carpet smiles, but the raw, handwritten truth. The kind you only write in the quiet of your room, when your heart is breaking but your mouth stays silent. Allegedly, someone close to Jennifer leaked pages from a journal she kept during her time with Common. And what's inside? It's not what anyone expected from a couple who looked so perfect on the surface. Behind the scenes, Jennifer was pouring her heart onto paper, questioning his love, doubting the future, and writing down moments that now feel prophetic. If you thought you knew the story of Jennifer in Common, you don't. This might just be the most vulnerable glimpse into Jennifer Hudson we've ever seen, and it could change the way you look at Common forever.
When Jennifer Hudson and Common first went public, people were rooting for them. Two icons, two survivors, two artists who had seen pain, endured it, and still stood tall. Jennifer, a woman whose voice could shake souls and whose story was already written in tragedy and triumph. Common, the soft-spoken poet, the socially conscious rapper with a smile that melted crowds, and a history of high-profile love stories that never quite stuck. On the surface, it looked like a match made in healing. He was mature, she was grounded. They weren't caught up in tabloid chaos. They respected each other's careers and kept it classy. But for those who were watching closely, something felt too quiet. Jennifer had always been private, but this was different. There were no red carpet handholds, no couple interviews. Even paparazzi rarely caught them together. And when they did, Common seemed relaxed. But Jennifer, her eyes didn't lie. Insiders whispered that Jennifer had entered this relationship hoping for something real, not another Hollywood situation. And quietly, behind the spotlight, she was journaling her thoughts. One entry, allegedly dated mid-2022, read, "He listens, but he doesn't hear me. I wonder if he sees me as a woman or just a good story to tell." Another line scribbled weeks later, "I'm tired of pretending I'm okay with how cold this feels. I've lived through too much to settle for this." These weren't the words of someone in love. These were the words of a woman trying to convince herself she still believed in love. But why stay silent? Because for Jennifer, speaking out meant inviting the world into something she wasn't ready to let go of. Because every time she'd been vulnerable before, the world had taken her pain and turned it into spectacle. And this time, she just wanted to feel safe. But what Jennifer didn't know was that someone close to her was keeping receipts. And when things fell apart, those pages started making their way into the wrong hands. The whispers started small. Just a tweet here, a blind item there, someone claiming to have seen Jennifer Hudson's private writings. At first, no one paid attention until a screenshot surfaced, a blurry image of a notebook page, handwriting eerily similar to Jennifer's, and one sentence that set social media on fire. "He says I'm too much, but maybe I'm just too real for him to handle." Blogs pounced. Fan pages dissected every curve of the letter J. Was it authentic? Was it part of a new music rollout? Was this her? And that's when Jaguar Wright entered the chat. Jaguar had been dropping hints for months, vague references in her IG lives, calling out Hollywood hypocrisy and emotional manipulators hiding behind activism. But this time, she named names. "I've known Jennifer a long time. That girl been holding it in for too long. Y'all don't even know what Common put her through." Suddenly, the rumors of a journal weren't just rumors anymore. Jaguar claimed to have seen it, parts of it at least. She said the pages painted a story far different from what the public saw. A relationship where Jennifer was emotionally starved, where Common, according to Jaguar, played the role of the woke boyfriend in public, but behind closed doors, he allegedly dismissed her pain, told her she was too intense,
too driven, even accused her of making everything too. Jaguar didn't stop there. She hinted that Common was more calculated than people thought, that he had a habit of dating strong Black women during key career moments, only to leave them when the public spotlight faded. Look at his history. Erica, Serena, Tiffany, and now Jennifer? Y'all still think this is a coincidence? The leaked pages started going viral. Not all at once, but just enough to stir a storm. One alleged journal entry hit particularly hard. I thought he'd understand my pain. Instead, he made me feel like I was crazy for carrying it. Women across social media resonated. Comments flooded in. This is every strong woman's nightmare. She gave her all and got gaslit in return. Jennifer deserves better. Whether or not the full journal existed didn't matter anymore. The emotional truth in those words hit home for thousands. And Common? He stayed silent. No tweet, no denial, no explanation. And for some, that silence said everything. But what really shattered people's hearts wasn't just what Jennifer wrote. It was what she never got to say until now. Behind the stage lights, behind the Grammy speeches and the red carpets, there was a woman who had spent years quietly rewriting her story. And while Jennifer Hudson has always come across as composed, resilient, and full of grace, according to those close to her, there were nights of tears, prayers, and even therapy sessions trying to make sense of what had happened between her and Common. Because what the world didn't know was that Jennifer never stopped writing, not just songs, but letters to herself, voice memos, and yes, entries that friends have now hinted were meant to become a book someday. A memoir of love, loss, and the parts of herself she gave away too freely. According to one insider, a friend of Jennifer's from her early Dreamgirls days, some of those journal entries painted Common not as a villain, but as a mirror. She wrote that being with Common forced her to confront wounds she thought she had already healed, the friend shared. Another page allegedly reads, "He reminded me of my father, charismatic, unavailable, always running. I thought I could fix him, but I was really trying to fix the little girl in me who didn't get closure." This wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. This was about a pattern, a trauma loop. Jennifer had, in her own words, mistaken passion for presence, confusing emotionally charged moments with actual stability. And according to Jaguar Wright, who doubled down in a recent live stream, Jennifer tried everything to make it work. She took him to church, she wrote songs about him that never got released. Sis even asked her pastor to counsel them, Jaguar claimed. But one of the most chilling lines that allegedly surfaced from the journal was, "I used to beg God to make him see me. Then one day I begged God to make me stop wanting him." That line alone sent TikTok spiraling. Fan edits, reaction videos, duets of women crying as they read it aloud. Because every woman who's ever loved too hard and lost herself in the process felt that line in their bones. And then came the turning point. Jennifer, months after the alleged leak, gave an interview that many believe was her subtle way of confirming everything without saying a single name. In that now viral sit down, she said, "Sometimes we confuse love with potential, but real love sees you. It holds you when you fall apart. It doesn't make you shrink." Viewers immediately connected the dots. She wasn't just talking about a breakup. She was grieving the version of herself that settled, that stayed too long, that tried to turn survival into romance. In Common, still no response, no clarification, no acknowledgement, which only made Jennifer's silence and her resurgence all the more powerful. Because while she may have lost him, she found herself in the wreckage. After the supposed leak of her secret journal, the world didn't just look at Jennifer Hudson as another heartbroken celebrity. They saw a woman reborn. For years, she was praised for her voice. Now, she was being heard for her truth. Industry insiders began whispering about a shift behind the scenes. One music executive who's worked closely with Jennifer over the years said something changed in her. The way she walks into rooms now, she's no longer asking for permission. She's making decisions. Sources claimed Jennifer had been sitting on 2 albums worth of unreleased music, and after the Journal fiasco, she allegedly began reworking the material to reflect who she is today, a woman who's not afraid to tell the whole story, even the messy parts. And if that wasn't enough, the Journal reportedly sparked conversations in Hollywood about a biopic-style limited series, with Jennifer at the center, not just as the subject, but as the executive producer, telling her story her way. Even more shocking, there are rumors that Common tried to reach out after the buzz surrounding the Journal exploded. An anonymous source close to Hudson's camp claimed he sent flowers, then texts. He didn't like how people were dragging him online, and he thought they could maybe talk it out privately. But Jennifer wasn't having it. She allegedly refused to respond, not because she was bitter, but because she had finally found peace and didn't want to reopen the wounds she had worked so hard to close. And guess what? Fans had her back 100%. Social media exploded with hashtags like hashtag Protect Jennifer Hudson and We Believe Jennifer Hudson. Women, especially those who'd been through similar emotional roller coasters, rallied behind her, reposting quotes from the leaked journal entries like gospel. One tweet went viral. Jennifer Hudson gave us a voice when we couldn't find our own. Now she's showing us how to heal out loud. Even Jaguar Wright, who's never been one to hold her tongue, said in a live stream, "You might have lost a man, Jennifer, but you gained an army. We see you now, not just as a star, but as a survivor." And what about Common? The silence from his camp is louder than ever. He hasn't acknowledged the journal leak, hasn't defended himself, hasn't clarified the timeline of their relationship. And while some fans claim that's his way of being respectful, others say it's classic damage control. Still, the focus has shifted. This isn't about him anymore. It's about Jennifer Hudson, a woman who went from silence to strength, from heartbreak to headlines, and from being misunderstood to being undeniably seen. Jennifer Hudson didn't just close a chapter with Common. She burned the whole book and then wrote a better one. Because when a woman gets tired of holding it all together in silence, when she finally stops shrinking herself for someone else's comfort, that's when the real story begins. This so-called leaked journal, whether it's real or just whispers, it doesn't matter. Because what it represents is something every woman can feel in her bones. The quiet battles we fight behind smiles. The moments we give too much and get crumbs in return. The nights we lie awake asking, why wasn't I enough for him? Why did he run when I gave him everything? But the truth is, Jennifer was never not enough. She was too much for a man who wasn't ready, too powerful, too real, too rooted in self-worth. In Common, maybe he thought he could keep her in a soft space. Maybe he thought she'd stay silent like so many others. But Jennifer chose herself. She walked away, not bitter, but better. Not broken, but blooming. You see, when a woman speaks her truth, no matter how messy, no matter how painful, she doesn't just free herself. She gives permission to thousands of others to do the same. So maybe this story isn't about Jennifer and Common anymore. Maybe it's about you. Maybe it's about finally choosing peace over potential, choosing healing over hoping, choosing your own story instead of begging to be part of someone else's. Because when a woman heals, she doesn't just rise, she rebuilds empires. And if you've ever found yourself staring at your own journal, those unspoken thoughts, those what ifs, those pages stained with tears, just know this: you're not alone. You are seen. You are worthy. And just like Jennifer, you're allowed to move on, glow up, and never look back. If this story moved you, if you saw a piece of yourself in Jennifer's journey, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Share your thoughts in the comments. We're listening. And don't forget to like this video so more women hear what they need to. Because this is just the beginning. There are so many more truths to uncover, and we're going to expose every single one.